Change is the oldest magic. In the hidden corners of Korea, humans become beasts, beasts become human, and the line between life and spirit is thinner than a whisper. Tonight, the Court of the Crane bears witness to stories of transformation, where the shape a creature takes reflects the heart's truth, and the cost of change is often higher than imagined. Transformation is not always freedom. Sometimes it is a punishment, sometimes escape, and sometimes revelation, revealing the desires, fears, and courage lurking beneath familiar faces. As you listen, remember, even the smallest of beings can alter destinies. Even the quietest choices can ripple outward, reshaping life itself. Tonight, the shadows of change will show us the truth behind appearances. High in the misty mountains of old Korea, there roamed a fox with 9 tails, a creature of beauty, cunning, and hunger. Every 100 years, she could take human form, wandering villages and markets, her hair shimmering like black silk, her eyes glowing with centuries of secrets. One scholar, weary from travel and laden with books, stumbled upon her at a quiet stream. She offered him tea in a cup that reflected the moon, and they spoke of philosophy, poetry, and the strange beauty of the natural world. He felt as though he had known her all his life. But night revealed a different truth. Her shadows stretched unnaturally long. Her gaze flickered with something wild, something ancient. Unable to resist, the scholar followed her into the forest under a silver moon. Beneath the trees, the Gumiho's 9 tails unfurled, fur shimmering like liquid night, eyes burning with longing and hunger. The scholar realized she was caught between worlds, yearning to be human yet bound by a hunger that could not be denied. He fled, heart pounding, leaving her alone in the mountains, and she remained, wandering, seeking someone with the kindness to soothe the beast within, a creature both beautiful and terrible, reminding all who encountered her that desire and danger often walk hand in hand. This tale draws from several Korean tiger bride legends told across different provinces, woven here into one version of devotion and danger. In the remote, snowdropped valleys of Gangwon, where pine trees whispered secrets to the wind, there lived a hunter renowned for his skill and courage. One winter evening, while tracking prey through the mountains, he encountered a tiger, massive, fierce, and eyes like molten gold. It growled, a sound that made the air shiver. The hunter prepared to strike, but something in the tiger's gaze gave him pause. A flicker of intelligence, even of sorrow, that spoke across species. He captured the tiger, not out of cruelty, but necessity, planning to keep it caged until he could release it safely. When he finally let it go, he expected it to vanish into the forest, to resume its wild life. Yet days later, the tiger returned, not to the forest, but to his home, and it was no longer entirely a beast. Before him stood a woman, radiant and mesmerizing, her movements graceful yet charged with an untamed energy. Her eyes, a molten gold reflection of the tiger's gaze, held both warmth and wildness. She spoke softly, her voice carrying the rhythm of the mountains, and the hunter felt a mix of awe, fear, and fascination. For a time, life seemed peaceful. She bore his children, and sang lullabies that echoed through the quiet valley, blending human melody with the wild cadence of the hills. Yet the hunter could sense the tiger within her, a pulse of raw power beneath her soft skin, a memory of claws and prowling instincts that never fully slept. The full moon was a cruel reminder of this duality. On each luminous night, she vanished from the home, her form twisting and stretching until she became the tiger once more. She roamed the snow-blanketed hills, claws sinking into frozen earth, eyes glowing like molten gold, and her roars rippled through the valley, a sound that seemed to shake the mountains themselves. Curiosity and a fragile human desire to understand gnawed at the hunter. One moonlit night, he followed her, the snow crunching under his boots, breath steaming in the icy air. He watched in awe as her body flowed with predatory grace, muscles rippling under golden fur, each movement both terrifying and beautiful. She leapt from rock to rock, scenting the wind, eyes scanning for threats, a creature of pure instinct, untethered by human rules. The hunter returned home alone, heart heavy with longing and a quiet despair. He knew he had glimpsed the truth. The woman he loved and the tiger prowling the hills were one, inseparable, yet irreconcilably divided by nature itself. Over the years, the children grew, and the village spoke in hushed tones of the tiger wife whose golden eyes haunted the mountains. Even decades later, when the hunter was old and the snow no longer lay as deep, the hills whispered with her presence. Tracks appeared and vanished overnight. Distant roars echoed down the valleys, and the wind carried a hint of her golden gaze. He understood, at last, that love intertwined with the untamed can never be fully possessed, and some magic, like the wild heart of a tiger, demands freedom above all else. Beneath the ocean waves, the Dragon King ruled with majesty and whimsy. One day, a white rabbit fell into the river, floundering against the current. Amused, the king offered her a wish to escape. She wished for kindness and was transformed into a radiant maiden. On land, she taught humans courage, mercy, and humility. But the ocean never forgot. When rivers were damaged or streams polluted, she would return, shifting back into the swift, agile creature she had been, her white fur glinting in the sun. Villagers tell of her wandering where mountains meet rivers, leaving trails of blossoms or the flutter of white fur in her wake. She reminded humans that ambition and kindness must coexist, that carelessness toward nature comes with consequences. In the fertile fields of Jeolla, where the river snakes through emerald rice paddies, there lived a quiet farmer. One morning, while tending his crops along the riverbank, he noticed ripples dancing unnaturally on the water's surface. Curious, he approached and saw her, a woman emerging from the river, her form ethereal, hair glistening with droplets, eyes bright with an otherworldly intelligence. She spoke little at first, smiling with a strange mixture of warmth and distance, and the farmer felt a pull he could not resist. She was gentle, skilled in all the ways of the household, cooking meals that warmed him to his bones, laughing lightly at his clumsy jokes, tending to the home with grace and care. Yet he could not ignore the strangeness about her. Her skin always felt damp, a faint scent of river mud and moss clinging to her hair, and an elegance that seemed to shimmer just beyond comprehension. Time passed, and their bond deepened. They married, and for months the farmer felt content. Yet curiosity gnawed at him. Whispers of the river's secrets had reached his ears from the neighbors and children who claimed to have seen lights glimmering beneath the water at night. One moonlit evening, unable to quell his fascination, he followed her silently as she slipped from their home toward the river. The silver moon hung low, casting pale light over the reeds and rippling water. There on the bank, she paused. Without a word, she began to shed her human skin, peeling it away like a cloak of soft silk. Beneath, scales shimmered in the colors of emerald and sapphire, catching the moonlight with each subtle movement. Her eyes gleamed like liquid gold, and her hissing laugh was both beautiful and terrifying, a sound that seemed to weave through the wind itself. The farmer froze, heart hammering in awe and fear. The woman, or the creature she truly was, slipped into the reeds, leaving only faint ripples on the water's surface and a lingering scent of moss. For a long moment he stood alone, trembling, knowing he had witnessed something far beyond mortal comprehension. He returned home, but the memory haunted him. Each visit to the river brought the echo of scales glinting in moonlight, the gentle hissing, and the soft scent of mud and water. He never remarried. The villagers whispered that he was cursed, but he knew the truth. Love intertwined with magic carries hidden costs. To love her had meant reverence for her otherworldly nature, patience for the secrets she could not abandon, and understanding that some forces, no matter how tender or familiar, can never be fully claimed. Years later, on quiet nights when the river lay still and silver beneath the moon, the farmer would leave a small bowl of rice or fresh water at the bank. And sometimes, just sometimes, a ripple would respond, a silent acknowledgement from a presence that was part woman, part river, and entirely beyond the reach of human hands. This retelling merges two well-known Korean motifs, the fairy bride and the white deer spirit, into one meditation on love and loss. In a quiet valley, where the mountains cast long shadows over the rice paddies, a woodcutter labored daily among the trees. One afternoon, as he swung his axe near an ancient oak, he heard a faint, melodic cry coming from its hollow trunk. Curious, he knelt and peered inside. There, trapped among the gnarled roots and twisted wood, was a small fairy, her wings tangled and frayed. She looked at him with eyes like sunlight caught in water, and in a voice that was both song and whisper, she spoke. "Free me, and I shall grant you 3 blessings. But beware, the gifts will alter you, in body, mind, or spirit. Once given, they cannot be taken back." The woodcutter hesitated, feeling the weight of the moment. 3 blessings could lift him from his humble life, provide wealth, skill, or wisdom beyond imagining. Yet he sensed the hidden danger, the cost that always comes with magic. His hands shook as he reached into the hollow and gently disentangled the fairy from her wooden prison. The instant she was free, a warmth surged through him, flowing like molten light through his veins. His strength increased. The axe in his hands felt lighter, the trees easier to fell. His reflexes sharpened. He moved with the grace of a predator, faster than any man of the village, and his mind expanded, thoughts clear and precise, knowledge flowing into him like a river from an unseen source. But the gifts were not without price. His skin tingled unnaturally, and from his back sprouted small, iridescent feathers. His voice, once coarse and earthy, sharpened into a high, melodic call, half human, half bird. Villagers who had come to fetch firewood froze in shock, whispering behind him. Some thought him bewitched, others thought him cursed. The woodcutter tried to speak, to reassure them, but the sound that emerged was not entirely his own. It carried a strange echo, a harmony with the wind and leaves. He realized then that he was no longer fully human, his form and voice forever touched by the fairy's magic. At first, he rejoiced in his newfound abilities. Hunting became effortless, paths through the forest became clear. His mind unraveled mysteries that had puzzled him for years. Yet he felt growing unease. The villagers stared, some with fear, some with awe, as he walked among them, a living warning of desire's cost. At night, he would climb the hills and sing into the darkness, his bird-like voice carrying across the valley. The fairy's warning echoed in his mind. Every blessing carries its weight. Every gift leaves a mark. In seeking power, he had gained extraordinary abilities, yet lost part of the man he had once been. And so the woodcutter lived on, part man, part bird, a bridge between the human world and the unseen, reminding all who saw him that magic, even in its generosity, asks for more than one is willing to imagine. In the snow-laden forest of Gangwon, where frost clung to every branch and silence reigned like a sacred hymn, a white deer roamed. Its coat shimmered like freshly fallen snow under the pale winter sun, and its eyes glowed with an intelligence and mystery that seemed almost human. Hunters had long sought this elusive creature, drawn by whispers of its beauty and the promise of fortune or glory. But the deer was no ordinary beast. Legend said that those who attempted to capture it would witness transformations that blurred the line between the mortal and divine. Many hunters came, chasing shadows through the ice and snow, only to return empty-handed, their hearts haunted by glimpses of something greater. One morning, a lone hunter, skilled and patient, glimpsed the deer at the edge of the frozen stream. Its gaze met his, calm and unwavering, and for a moment, he felt the weight of centuries of forest memory pressing into his soul. He moved closer, breath rising in clouds, snow crunching beneath his boots, but the deer did not flee. As he followed, the forest seemed to shift around him. The wind whispered through the pines, carrying faint laughter and secrets, and the snowflakes danced as if alive. The deer paused atop a ridge, and in a soft shimmer, its form began to change. Antlers receded, hooves melted into delicate feet, and fur glistened into flowing robes of white. Before the hunter stood a maiden of ethereal beauty, her eyes reflecting the past and the future. A spirit of the mountains made flesh. Entranced, the hunter stepped forward, yearning to speak, to understand, to claim what was forbidden. But the maiden's voice, soft as the winter yet carrying the authority of ages, filled the air. She whispered secrets of the mountains, of rivers and peaks, of life that must be respected, and greed that must be tempered. Pride blinds the eyes. Greed binds the heart. Walk gently on this earth, or it will claim you, as it claims all who do not listen. She murmured, her breath rising like mist. The hunter followed her through frost-bitten paths and shadowed valleys, each step revealing lessons hidden in silence, in the crunch of snow, in the cold clarity of the winter forest. By dawn, when the first light touched the peaks, he awoke alone atop the ridge, the maiden nowhere to be seen. Her footprints had vanished, leaving only the glint of frost and the lingering echo of her wisdom. Generations of villagers recount this tale, saying that the white deer still wanders the snowy forest of Gangwon. Hunters speak of seeing a fleeting figure among the trees, or a pair of knowing eyes peering through the frost, reminding them that nature's spirits are ever watchful, and that reverence, patience, and humility are the keys to survival and understanding in the wild. The story endures as a lesson. Beauty and power are often hidden, and true wisdom lies in respect for forces larger than oneself. Those who chase recklessly may find nothing, and those who watch, listen, and learn may glimpse the magic that threads through the world, fleeting yet eternal. In a river winding through misty mountains, a solitary carp swam tirelessly against the ceaseless current. Day after day it battled the rushing waters, its scales glinting like silver in the sunlight, its heart filled with a singular, unyielding desire to rise above the ordinary, to reach the legendary dragon gate that crowned the waterfall at the river's end. Villagers along the river bank often paused to watch, marveling at the carp's determination. Many whispered that the fish carried the spirit of ambition itself, its journey a test of courage and endurance. "See how it struggles," an elder would say, "for only those willing to risk everything may touch the sky." The current was merciless. Rocks and rapids threatened to dash it against the river bed. Predators lurked in shadowed pools. And yet the carp pressed on, driven not by hunger or fear, but by the dream of transcendence. With every leap and surge, the villagers' awe grew, their admiration tinged with worry. Finally the carp reached the foot of the towering waterfall. Water thundered around it, crashing down in a white, frothing torrent. The height seemed impossible. Many lesser fish had tried and failed, swept back into the river, never to attempt the climb again. But this carp gathered every ounce of strength, every beat of its resilient heart. It surged forward, tails snapping, fins slicing through the air, muscles straining against the gravity of the fall. And then, in that breathless, momentous instant, it leapt. Time seemed to suspend. Water splashing, birds freezing in mid-flight, villagers holding their breath. Above the waterfall, in a dazzling explosion of scales and light, the carp transformed. Its body stretched and elongated, fins curling into wings, scales shimmering like molten gold and jade. Eyes burned with the fierce light of ambition realized. It was a dragon, magnificent and formidable, the very embodiment of courage and sacrifice fulfilled. Yet even in its newfound glory, the dragon's heart remembered the river below. It had felt the struggle, the currents, the endless push against impossible odds. And in this remembrance, it carried a lesson for all who watched. Transformation is never merely a gift. It demands courage, it exacts sacrifice, and it requires a willingness to face impossible currents, knowing that failure is always near, and triumph is earned only by persistence and resolve. The villagers tell that to this day, when the mist rises over the waterfall, a golden dragon can be glimpsed soaring above the river, scales gleaming, eyes glowing with the fire of ambition fulfilled. yet always returning to the river that shaped it. Its story endures as a reminder. True transformation is born not from ease, but from relentless struggle. And those willing to risk everything may touch heights once thought to be unreachable. Tonight, we have walked with foxes, tigers, and carp, with daughters and fairies, with spirits who teach, punish, and guide. Transformation is not merely change of shape. It is the truth revealed in the heart, the price of desire, the lesson of courage, and the shadow of fate. In the Court of the Crane, we honor these stories, remembering that the world is never fixed, and that even the smallest of beings can hold the power to alter destinies. If these stories stirred your imagination, subscribe and like to continue walking with us through the hidden realms of Korean folklore. And remember, in the Court of the Crane, change is the oldest magic, and its echoes linger far longer than the forms we take.